Hi, my name is Colin Orlando, and I am a Senior Technical Sales Engineer at Cavallo. In today's demonstration, we'll be going over some of the basics of SalesPad Desktop. To start off, we'll look at the Sales Monitor and our configurable workflow, and then we'll move our way into our customer lookup screen, as well as our ability to see customer sales history and item history. Finally, we'll take a look at our sales order processing screens and what Cavallo has as value adds on top of Dynamics GP. First thing I would like to go ahead and talk about is the fact that SalesPad sits on top of Dynamics GP, so we're interacting, reading and writing to those exact same tables that Dynamics GP is going to be utilizing. Second, if you'll notice along the top, I have two tabs on my screen. SalesPad is broken out into a tabular layout, much like you're used to today with Google Chrome or any web browser. You have the ability to also right-click, untab, and move that to another monitor or screen, so you'll have the ability to still maintain the 2 to 3 screen setup that we're all used to today. Now with Sales Monitor, you will notice on my screen that I have a workflow built out on the far left-hand side. The concept of workflow within SalesPad begins with identifying what stages your order should naturally go through to progress from the time an order hits the system to the time it's ready to invoice. This is where SalesPad can add the logic-based routing in and move these orders through seamlessly without having human interaction. I would like to start and look up a customer on our customer search screen so that we can go ahead and identify how SalesPad looks at a customer, how it sees a customer compared to Dynamics GP, and what value adds we bring to the table. The first thing I'd like to go ahead and do is populate my wide open customer search. As you'll see here, this is pulling in every customer in my Dynamics GP database from all of those existing tables. But one thing that SalesPad does above and beyond Dynamics Great Plains is we have the ability to live on a grid type system. What that means to SalesPad is that we can go ahead and manipulate these columns and move them into an order that makes the most logical sense for us and how we operate day to day in our role. Additionally, we have the ability to do a right click here in our column chooser screen. Our column chooser screen will pull up a number of different user-defined fields that we can actually pull in to our system and organize even further to make looking customers up a simpler process in SalesPad. Additionally, when it comes to user-defined fields in SalesPad, we go above and beyond the capabilities of Dynamics GP. Dynamics GP, as we know today, provides about 6 or so user-defined fields. With SalesPad, you have the ability to gain 120 plus per business object of user-defined fields and take that data and also report on it. So a ton of different ways that we can go ahead and add fields into our search grids to make the data more manipulatable and easier to find. Below our column headers here, you'll notice a little row called the autofilter row. Our autofilter row is just another way that SalesPad allows you to go ahead and get real-time search results for any of the modules within SalesPad. If you'll notice, I can go ahead and search down to a customer in, say, the state of Washington. And you'll notice it'll populate the one customer in my system, Aaron Fitz Electrical, that is in the state of Washington, and will allow me to then navigate into the customer card view. The first thing we notice with the customer card is that we have the ability to populate a customer note. This customer note can be anything from letting our sales reps know that we need to go ahead and check for a current price list that we have saved under our resources tab, to giving specific instructions on how a customer needs their item shipped. It is a great tool to have pop up, so that is the first thing that a sales rep or SDR might have to look at in order to place an order into your environment. Once we close that out, we'll notice that our customer card is broken up into 3 main areas. On the upper left-hand side of our screen, we have our basic GP customer properties. So this will be anything from your customer number to the terms to what price level this customer is placed at in the system. We also have a number of tooltips that we have built out throughout our environment that will allow things such as the sales summary to be pulled to the front of mind and view in breakdowns of revenue, cost, margin percentage, freight revenue, and freight cost, as an example, for the last 4 years of sales history for this customer. On the upper right-hand side of the screen, we have what's known as our Open Sales Documents window. This window will allow us to search any document that is not historical or voided in our environments. So anything that is currently out in a batch, existing in our workflow, we can go ahead and pull that document open here. And again, using that auto filter row to go ahead and navigate to, if you have a specific batch, for example, my picking batch, A-pick, and pull in all of those individual orders from that batch in my environment to quickly find the order that we're looking for. Along the bottom half of the screen, you'll notice we've dedicated a ton of space to a tabular breakout containing all of the different customer relevant information. We'll go ahead and start with the Interactions tab. On our Interactions tab, we have a great repository for all inbound and outbound emails that are matching contacts on the customer card using our Outlook plugin. We can assign tasks to a specific sales individual so that they'll be notified to take action or follow up against a particular client, or even record things down to a lunch with a particular client, or if a customer is out on vacation and not to bother them for that particular week. Next, we have our Sales Documents tab. Sales Documents is a little bit different than our open sales docs in that we can view all of the voided and historical sales documents that exist within our environment. So you'll notice at the top of my screen, I have my checkboxes set to orders and historical. So we're viewing currently every document in my system for this customer that is historical and was in an order status. Next, we have our Item History tab. Our Item History tab comes in handy when a customer is calling on the phone or emailing in and wants to know, for example, what they got an HD20 at the last time, how many quantities they've ordered or how many units, and what the price was. We're able to quickly navigate down to that item number, again using our auto filter row, and view exactly the last date that that particular item was ordered by that customer, and even hyperlink into that sales document to allow us to initiate a reorder. With Cavallo SalesPad, initiating reorders is extremely seamless. I'll go ahead and do an example on my screen now. We're going to pop in to order 0499 on my environment. And once it loads, you'll notice that this document is a read-only historical status. To initiate a reorder, all we would have to do is utilize Cavallo's copy function. So we'll select copy and select OK. And in just 2 simple clicks from any existing order in your system, you're able to initiate a reorder of exactly the same parts, exactly the same prices that they were placed at, with still allowing you the ability to go ahead and manipulate the sales document, change the price to maybe current pricing, or add and subtract lines on your sales document. And last but not least, I did want to go ahead and mention that SalesPad, above and beyond these tabs that we've shown today, has the abilities to have group pricing, contract pricing, and special pricing options that we would be more than happy to show you in an additional follow-up demonstration. Now I'd like to dive into our sales order processing. From the customer card, you can initiate a quote, an order, an invoice, or return from the top of the customer card. We'll go ahead and start with an order today. The first thing you'll notice when we actually populate this order in SalesPad is that we're pulling all of that information in from the customer card, again, reducing any sort of motion waste when it comes to redundancy in clicking or re-entering any information. At this point, we're going to go ahead and enter our line items using our new line item option on our sales line plugin screen. You can add a line item by typing in the full SKU, part of the SKU, or even part of the description, and that'll go ahead and pull us into our sales inventory lookup screen. On this screen, you'll be able to see a selection of items that match that particular prefix that you've entered, as well as the available versus on-hand quantities that exist within your environment. We'll go ahead and select our HD20. And just to show you that you can go ahead and enter a full SKU as well, we'll enter an HD40. Now, one thing you'll notice about our HD40 is that this line item is going to be red, indicating a back order in the SalesPad environment. Now, we discussed SalesPad's logic-based routing tools and the ability to guide orders where they need to go in the system without you having to do any sort of manual manipulation or changing your GP orders into GP back orders and then back into GP orders to fulfill that particular order. We'll go ahead and show an example of this now once we go ahead and release this order into our system. What we should see on the screen here is SalesPad's logic-based routing taking over and guiding our orders to the correct batches for fulfillment or back order purchasing. You'll see on the screen SalesPad will also provide you a notification letting you know exactly where that order wound up in your environment. In my system, my item that's in stock is hitting a print queue, allowing that pick ticket to be sent out to our warehouse, and then the order seamlessly guided into our picking queue, whereas our back-ordered item has hit that same auto-forward queue, but being evaluated for a back-ordering rule that will simply guide it to a back-order queue and split that order off of its parent. I'll end here, but that was just a small portion of what SalesPad has to offer above and beyond the capabilities of Dynamics GP.